one I've seen on the web, okay? Book of Abraham, manuscript 3, page 5, okay? And here's the new digitized image there, okay? Well, it does look the same, doesn't it? It does look the same. And I bet you're waiting for me to say it's different, but it's not, okay? I did look under this under magnification, okay? And made sure that these two inks were the same thing. Now, let me just throw out something to you here that John Gee wants me to tell you, okay? And he wants you to spread it around, right? And that is that when he was arguing for a two-ink analysis, two-ink theory, okay, that many of you know about, and the two-ink theory says that the characters were in a different ink than the text, therefore the characters were put on the paper after the text was already there. That was the way kind of John was thinking about that, okay? And when he was thinking through that, he did not have access to the originals. He did not have access to the newly digitized images. He only had what basically everybody else has, okay? And so he just made a judgment call there. Well, John and I have been working together on some of this, and he's totally convinced now that the two-ink theory on manuscript 3 is dead. There is no two-ink. Aren't you sad? Okay? You shouldn't be sad, because this particular manuscript here is used as an example, okay, to shoot down the two-ink theory, when in reality there's 3 other manuscripts still, 2 others with hieratic characters on them, okay, that are not analyzed on the web with these critics here, okay. And when we get to manuscript 2, you'll see that the two-ink theory is not dead all the way yet. Somebody will kill it, I'm sure. But and here's Book of Abraham, manuscript 2. So you see the characters over here, okay? You'll notice there's no margin line on this one, okay? And that there's lots of space between the text and the characters there, okay? And we have to figure out why that is, okay? There's several conclusions one could come to about that, but and here's the newly digitized image. Now, I have done enough looking at this under a microscope to determine with absolute certainty, okay, that that these characters here are in a different ink than the text. I know that, okay? I can magnify things from 6 times to 50 times, okay, and look at the fibers even, okay, and I can see that they're different inks there. And you can see a correction right here on Milka in the same ink as this over here, okay, and I'll show you some more of that. And so, yeah, the two-ink theory is dead with manuscript 3, but manuscript 2 is yet to be what? Like, I guess the critics would have to be yet to be disproved, okay? Which I'm sure they'll do somehow. So let's go on to myth number 3. Book of Abraham, manuscript number 1, okay, that would, page 1, and I want to focus just on the Phelps section, okay? That's that top section there. And many of the critics argue that this is dictated text, that Joseph Smith is standing there dictating this to W.W. Phelps, okay? Of course, you know, because they're translation papers, remember. We don't want to lose that thought, okay? And here's the text right here, okay? And you can see there's some characters over here, okay, and some numbers here that we'll talk about in just a minute. Okay, it's in a darker ink than the Warren Parrish writing, okay? The reality here is that this is not dictated text, and I'm going to show you why, okay? Here's some reasons. First of all, with these numbered characters here, okay, we got number 1 that goes with this one, and we have number 2 that goes with this one. So, and by the way, you can find these in the grammar book of the Egyptian manuscripts here, some of this kind of material. But this looks just a bit too deliberate for me for a dictated text, okay, to put numbers on there that Joe Smith's saying, okay, now put number 1, okay, he's dictating number 1, and then you write this, okay, now put number 2, and then dictates, okay, it doesn't make sense to me. So it appears very deliberate. Okay, well, if that were the only evidence I had, probably wouldn't even told you this one. Okay, how about punctuation? Okay, this one here, Will Scriver actually had at least got the message board going on this one a little bit. You can see a lot of semicolons in here and commas. And generally speaking, with dictated text, you almost have zero punctuation. You go to the Book of Mormon manuscripts, okay, or the JST manuscripts, very little punctuation on those dictated manuscripts. Well, so what do? You look at Phelps's contemporary letters to his wife, Sally, and lo and behold, the punctuation that he uses here is very similar to the punctuation that he's using in these letters right around that same time period that this manuscript comes out. He punctuates it more. Okay? And so, to me, that's saying, look, this particular part, anyway, is not dictated. It's too clean there. There's a thing called dittography, where a scribe will be copying something from another manuscript and accidentally write a word twice. Okay, you see it all the time in scribal errors, okay? And so you can see B over here, and he's got a little equal sign, and then he writes beginning again, the whole thing, okay? We're supposed to just write ginning there, not beginning, okay? And so his eye is moving back and forth between two manuscripts there. And so, let's see. Now, I know this is a big word. It's called a homoioteleton, okay? I'll tell you what that is, okay? So you don't walk out the room here and think I'm swearing at you or something. I'm not. You can read there, a high priest holding the right belonging to the fathers, and that's where we're ending right here, from the beginning of time. So that's Abraham 1, 2, and 3, okay? But notice what's missing here. Okay, where I have the arrows right here, this is what we have now. It was conferred upon me from the fathers. It came down from the fathers. Now you notice you got fathers here and fathers there. Okay, it was very common mistake for scribes, okay, from Old Testament, New Testament, all the way up to the 19th century scribes, and even today, that when you see two words, okay, like this, you see fathers all over the place. It's so easy to take this fathers, and just omit what's in between. It's simple to do that. Okay, you see it all the time. It's a common scribal error. Okay, and that's just saying that Phelps's eye was looking at fathers and just missed it up to the next fathers. Okay, all right. Okay. Phelps also has 7 omissions in the Phelps section here, which are puzzling, okay, when you think about dictation. Okay, to me it would be, realize that when you do dictation, Joseph Smith did go back with the scribes or whatever and add things, you know, and fix things. Of course he did. Okay, but this is a lot of stuff. Okay, that's different from our manuscript. So I don't know what he was copying from, how accurate the manuscript was, or how hurried he was, or whatever it was, but he's missing a lot of things in this particular passage, or this part here. So my conclusions, okay, the reality for me anyway, is that he's copying from an earlier manuscript. Perhaps it's an unrevised one that the prophet let him copy from. I don't know, okay? Or he's just in a rush, but the point is, in my view, this could not have been dictated. So what am I doing again? I'm separating the manuscript from the translation here, okay? I'm separating it from the translation, saying it's not a working translation paper, okay? That's what I'm saying. All right, so myth number 4. Manuscripts 2 and 3 were simultaneously dictated. Now, Mr. Metcalf already knows that he and I depart on this one majorly, okay? We do not agree on this one, okay? And I have yet to hear his evidence, but here we go. What is normally used on this particular point for the critics anyway, and I'm not lumping Brent into that, by the way, yet, but we've got this strange sentence here at the beginning, and because it's so exact on both manuscripts, okay, it looks like Joseph Smith just dictated that to them and then told them to correct that, and they both made the exact same corrections on it. Because this correction up here is in the handwriting of Williams, just like it's supposed to be, and this correction here is in the handwriting of Paris, just like it's supposed to be. You can just tell by the S's here. It's It's very easy. Number one, why would Joseph Smith dictate such a strange sentence that's not even in our scriptures? It doesn't make any sense. That part doesn't to me anyway.